Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Come on, you can do better than that. It's holiday season. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
That's better. I'd like to call the Sumter County Council meeting for Tuesday, December 12th to order. Mrs. B, would you please give us an invocation? May we please all stand and remain standing for the pledge of allegiance.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for all the blessings you've given us, and thank you for the desire to want to serve and to be able to help those that are helpless. Lord, we thank you for this season, and thank you for the love that you've already given us. Please guide all the council members and the public during this meeting, and please allow us to get home safely to our families. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As you can see, we're going to move ordinance number 23992 to the head of the table, so to speak, right before land use matters, and have a motion to approve the agenda with that change. Second. Then moved and properly second that we approve the agenda with the noted change. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, please say nay. Okay. I have a motion to approve the minutes from meeting of Tuesday, November 28th. So moved. Second. And moved and properly second that we approve the minutes from our meeting of November 28th. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. And also have a motion to approve the minutes from our special meeting on December 7th. So moved. Second. It's been moved and properly second that we approve those minutes from our special meeting that was held on December 2nd. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. All right, ordinance number 23992. Jay?
Mr. Chair, I'll introduce it and then turn it back over to Jay. Come on up. Yeah, Jay's going to handle it. This is ordinance 23992 is an ordinance that execution and delivery of a fee in lieu and ad valorem taxes and incentive agreement between Sumter County and a project currently known as Black Nickel. As you know, that we've been working on this project. We've gone through numerous meetings, talked about the fee structure, but at this time I'd like to turn it over Jonathan. As you know, we normally do this, but Jonathan's unavailable due to an illness. Jay has graciously stepped up and is going to discuss the details of the project and then a little bit more conversation later on. So that, turn over to our Economic Development Director, Jay Swade.
Thank you, Mr. Mixon.
Sir.
Mr. Chairman, members of council, it's an honor and a privilege to be here this evening with some good news, and I really am looking forward to introducing my guests behind me. The project, as you are well aware, has not changed in scope on the fee agreement. Jonathan typically reads the document, so we are at that point. Public hearing was already been held.
No.
And
No, it's not.
Oh, it's not.
Public
Okay.
hearing will be tonight before we take action.
Thank you for that. I will let our friends give you the details of the project, but it is a significant economic development investment that is slated to see a greenfield site developed in the Pocataligo Industrial Park on US 521 South. It's a very large investment. It carries with it a significant number of jobs as they ramp up, and they will shortly begin their development exercise. Wanted to get through this evening, and we have a public announcement occurring tomorrow at 3 o'clock at the Opera House, front side of the Opera House in the auditorium, where our friends and colleagues will announce their project with the full scope of the details. Anything you would like me to carry on?
Council has the information.
Okay. So with that, Mr. Chairman, yes, sir.
We're going to have the public hearing,
Okay.
and then we'll take the vote, and then you can introduce your guest.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I now declare the public hearing portion of our meeting open for ordinance number 23992. Anyone wishing to speak against ordinance number 23992, please proceed to the podium. Please state your name for the record. Lewis, are you speaking against? Are you speaking against it, Lewis?
For the time being. All right. And the reason why Jay just said that tomorrow there'll be a public meeting to discuss.
Not a meeting, it's just an
announcement. But I'm saying today with the public, I mean, I've heard of it before, but don't know any details.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's been one of the things that I've been saying all along, is that we come to a meeting like this and items come on the agenda and we have very little information. About what the project is all about. And it's a public meeting and it's presented, you guys probably have all the information. All right, but that's what I'm saying. I feel that coming to a meeting like this and seeing the council, my name is Louis Watkins, I live in the county, all right? And seeing the county vote on an issue like this and it talk about a black nickel, I'm saying, what is this black nickel? Is it positive? Is it negative? If it's an economic development project and you got a black nickel involved, hopefully it's a positive black nickel. And so all I'm saying at this point, I'm just confused about what the aspects or what is going to be happening.
You'll learn more in a few minutes, Lewis.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else in fear of being shot?
Well, Jackie Hughes, Chairman McCain. I don't know anything about it either, and when I got here tonight, I asked, can't think of her name, but if it was, any of these projects are gonna take our land, China, is it from China? And she said that so far she only knows of American companies. So that would be the only thing I would be against, is if the company is from China. Thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone wishing to speak for? And now declare the public hearing closed.
Move third reading, Mr. Chairman.
Second. It's been moved and properly seconded that we have third reading on ordinance 23992. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Nay? Yes. Jay?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for your comments. There is a reason why we don't disclose all of the information, because these projects are extensive, they're intensive, and they have a lot of moving parts to them. The other part of it is our guests are here to talk about their own project, and I didn't want to steal their information. And the public, the announcement tomorrow is not a public hearing. It's not affiliated with government entity. It's their celebration of the announcement of their project. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to introduce Dr. Eric Eschen. He is the CEO of the company that is referred to as Black Nickel. And with that, Mr. Eschen, please step up. Thank you.
Thanks, Jay. Well, thank you, Jay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, all members of the Sumter County board members. No, I think the questions we just heard are really relevant, and I would like to take the moment to introduce VAC a little bit. That's the name of the company we are representing, and what we want to do here together with the community here in Sumter. So I try to keep it brief, and whenever you have more questions, please ask, because there's nothing we want to hide, nothing we want to keep in secret. We are a very open and very transparent company. So quickly about VAC, we are 100 years old, 100 years, 4 months, and a couple of days. So we bring a long history. We are owned 100% by an American fund. But we were established in Germany, and the management is in Germany, but we have facilities around the globe. What we produce is magnets and soft magnetic materials. And here in Sumter, we want to build a facility that produces permanent magnets for the EV industry and for the defense industry of the United States. We are the only remaining producer in the Western Hemisphere for permanent magnets. And referring to the question we just heard, the majority of all permanent magnets currently comes out of China. And it's a matter of national security to become more independent from that supply chain. And this is why we are here. So referring to your question, we actually work on that, the U.S. defense and the Homeland Security is getting more robust and more independent from Chinese supplies, especially in these difficult times. With that, we intend to create highly skilled jobs, about 300, and we will invest about $500 million over the longer period. Just a big background, we won a large contract with General Motors. They want to go electric, and this is the facility we actually built for them, plus the Department of Defense and other suppliers that the Department of Defense is using in North America. So in a nutshell, what we are doing, it's very important for the environment, going electric. It's also very important for the national security, as I laid out. And most important, we want to be a very strong partner here to the community of Sumter. We have a long-term vision. Again, we are a 100-year-old company with all our workers having a very long tenure with us, and we work in all the communities we work with. We are very deeply rooted, and hopefully, and this is our vision, we also can contribute to your community, not only being part of it, but like every community, you also have your difficulties, and we are more than happy to start also projects in educating people who want to get out of their situation, to consider them, get them into our facility, work together with them, and make our world a little bit better. And a personal note, it's the first time I'm in Sumter. My team spent quite some time already here. I arrived yesterday, and it's really lovely. I personally come also from a smaller town, grew up on a farm, and it feels a little bit like home, and this is exactly what we are looking for: great infrastructure, plus the right people, the right attitude to work on the industrial fair, and that's why we are here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And welcome to Sumter.
Yes.
Thank you. So if there are any more questions, just let us know. Thank you.
I'm in favor.
Okay, we go.
Thank you, sir.
Sounds very attractive.
We tried.
Thank you. All right, Jay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to say one thing. This is the largest initial investment that our industry has put into something.
That's what Jay said.
The largest.
The largest initial investment.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's huge.
but not in jobs, but just in the initial investment of over $500 million. Okay, ordinance, wait a minute, I'm sorry. Ordinance amendment number 2301, Stone Project Government.
OA 2301 is a comprehensive zoning ordinance text amendment to address solar development in the county. As an update from second reading, I met with some community members that were present at this November 28th public hearing on December 4th to discuss their concerns and to walk through the regulations as they were presented. Made some edits and clarifications to the ordinance presented based on those concerns raised at the meeting, as well as some issues that were raised in the land use committee meeting prior to this meeting this evening. I apologize, those ordinance changes are not incorporated into this presentation that we discussed because I could not make edits to this program, but I will cover them verbally. We also fielded some questions from potential solar developers that were seeking clarification on how our ordinance language would be developed, or would be interpreted for development purposes. So we did add some additional text to clarify the needs and provide clearer guidance. Pardon me. The changes that you see in green are the changes that came out of our meeting on the 4th. In particular, we clarified that it says 200-foot setback, but out of land use committee, we have modified that to a 300-foot setback, and that provision excludes any security fencing. However, the 300-foot setback shall apply to all arrays, storage areas, permanent stormwater management facilities, battery storage, inverters, and transformers. However, the poles and aerial lines necessary to deliver electricity to the power grid may be located in the setback so long as the necessary buffering is maintained as required in section 5B-C310, which specifically addresses buffering standards. An additional change that was made to the original text, and you see that in green under item number 3, was that we added that all ground-mounted photovoltaic solar energy systems shall be enclosed by a perimeter security fence that is wildlife friendly and of a height that meets the NEC, National Electrical Code, without any use of barbed wire. Said fencing shall be installed behind required buffers and not be visible from public rights-of-way. Just for the public's knowledge, an NEC compliant fence without barbed wire is 7 feet tall. And a wildlife friendly version of that fence actually allows small mammals to move through it. It's also referred to as permeable fencing. Additional language that came out of the land use committee that I could not add here will also address the fact that there will be wildlife passageways in these arrays to allow larger mammals such as deer, coyote, bear to also traverse larger properties so that they are not being blocked from their natural ways to get from point A to point B. So instead of having a large 600-acre area completely fenced off for a given project, it will have pods or areas that are fenced off individually, as each pod would be considered its own project for fencing purposes, leaving areas for larger mammals to traverse the site. There are no changes to the language on this page talking about Shaw Air Force Base. We continue to recommend 21 days for feedback from Shaw and from the Sumter Airport for any sites within 5 nautical miles of Poinsett, Shaw Air Force Base, or the airport. Continue to recommend interconnection agreements from utility company. Where we made additional changes in particulars of landscaping and screening, the language that you see added in green is new from the 28th. So if existing vegetation, mature existing trees and shrubs shall be retained in the required, this will be changed to 300-foot setback. Dead trees and shrubs may be removed in the setback area, meaning that they can do vegetation management so that something that's dead won't cause other issues. And that vegetation needs to be supplemented to ensure a year-round evergreen vegetative screen of at least 6 feet in height over 3 growing seasons and not to less than 20 feet in height at maturity. This comes into play with the fact that the maximum height for a solar array is going to be 15 feet at full tilt, so at 20 feet it should fully screen the solar array even at the peak of the day when it's at its highest tilt. We also specify additional plantings. Where existing vegetation is insufficient for required screening, a planting plan shall be developed and submitted that creates a year-round evergreen vegetative visual screen at least 6 feet in height over 3 growing seasons, not less than 20 feet in height maturity. But that plan shall utilize a variety of evergreen species to avoid the creation of a monoculture vegetative buffer. This is important. It's really easy to buy 1,000 cypresses and put them up and create a screen, but if something happens and makes that plant ill, it could take all of the buffer out. So we want a variety of plant species so that that buffer is not susceptible to a single illness event. In terms of maintenance, we're going to require that all new plantings include an irrigation system that's maintained until the plant materials are fully established and thriving. So we're not requiring a permanent irrigation system on 3,000 feet of road frontage, but we are requiring that irrigation be provided long enough for those plants to get established and to survive. Any dead or diseased plants have to be replaced within 60 days of notification by the planning department. We can have zoning enforcement that can do that. And failure to replace within 60 days can result in a violation. And if we wanted to, we could actually ticket them for every day that that violation occurs. We are also going to a position where the solar facilities shall be developed using best management practices for a solar pollinator habitat. That specifically means that instead of having a gravel bed in the AC and CP districts underneath the solar panels, they'll need to use native grasses. They'll need to use low impact development standards to be as least intrusive to a rural area as possible. And then we, with the decommissioning plan, we only added, we modified one note and then added another condition. Under 13, that should be B, not AA. The surety is required to cover the cost of decommissioning the primary photovoltaic energy facility. Those decommissioning costs shall include all the work that's described in the recorded decommissioning plan. That means that the decommissioning plan and valuation needs to be based off of what was recorded in the agreement for that particular project. And then if they're using a surety bond for that 125%, we added language that bond has to be a AAA rated bond. Those are the only changes that we've made since second reading. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Mr. Chairman, I would move third reading with the changes presented by plan staff.
It's been moved and seconded that we have third reading with the appropriate changes as introduced by Mr. Rudman. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please, yeah.
So I appreciate the work that's been done on this project. Ms. Rubin, thank you, Ms. Rubin. You've done a lot of research. I also appreciate council's attempt to move in what I consider to be the right direction in protecting rural folks and making things a little bit more protective and restrictive for rural habitat and rural quality of life. And so, you know, my thanks to you for that, but I am not sold on solar. I'm not sold on the invasion of the natural habitat. I've heard from several people in my district. I've heard from people in Council Lady McGaney's district, and I think I can speak for her on this issue. She has the same concern. She shared that with me. And while council has made some steps to make it a little bit more restrictive, I just don't think we know enough about what solar will do to the environment, to the land, to the water. We don't know enough about how it affects wildlife. And I think we're being a bit premature in signing off on this before we have a little more detailed information, which would put us in a position to be a little more protective of people. And again, as I said earlier in the committee meeting, for me personally, and I'm speaking for the councilman from Rembrandt now, it's about people first. And in this instance, I think we're being a bit premature for that reason. I will not be voting in favor of third reading. Landon, please note me in opposition. Mr. Chairman, thank you for the time.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Looking at this solar energy, and I know that that's the plan for the future. They're putting it all in fields, they're putting it on homes, they're putting it everywhere. But we have a very, very big company, Duke Energy, that's net worth is $73 billion. They're a big company. But they serve over 830,000 citizens in South Carolina, household and business. The average electric bill for a citizen is $195. So they serve 169,000 citizens, which is in the area called Duke Energy Progress, which is Darlington, Florence, and Sumter. Now, Duke is asking for a $19 increase in their services. And they had a meeting at Sumter High School. And the residents came out and voiced their concern against Duke raising the price. But if Duke is going to introduce or connect into a technology that's going to reduce the cost of energy to individual customers they serve, I'm for that. And let me say this. I'm already benefiting from solar energy panels because Black River Electric has a solar farm. And I'm connected into 3 panels. I thought I had 2 for $60. And then when I recently talked to them, they said, well, Mr. Bank, that'll change. You are connected into 3 panels for $51. And you can see the savings. So they went in and let me calculate and see how much I'm saving. Of course, I save more in the summertime when the sun is out and so forth. But if this is going to be a savings to the citizens, then I don't see why we're fighting. Because I think I recognize an individual that was at that meeting voicing their concerns about Duke wanting to raise the cost of energy. So if that's going to save it on low-income people, I'm for it.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Washington.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I feel compelled to respond to the comments from my good friend, Councilman from Myrtle Beach Highway. And I'll remind all of us that when cell phones became apparent for everyone to have one, we were told that our workload would decrease, that we would have less work because of cell phone, because of technology. And I guarantee you that 99% of those people sitting in that audience here will tell you that that has not been the case. Because they get calls during work, they get calls after work, they get emails during the night, texts during the night, and probably starting at 7 o'clock in the morning. And I know that for a fact because I'm one of them. So I don't want us to be trick bagged by being told that this is going to save money when we don't have all of the information. And when I say we don't have all of the information, we don't know what it's going to do to wildlife. We don't know what it's going to do to the ground soil. We don't know what it's going to do to the water. We don't know what it's going to do when these companies walk away and leave these heavy equipment type entities on farmland. We just don't know. And if you can show me a study that lays out this information, I'd like to see it. But I don't think you can because it doesn't exist.
Mr. Chair. Again, I'm glad my colleague called me a good friend. I hope we remain good friends after, so we'll do that. But I'm already saving from solar energy. I can see if I wasn't saving from it. I'm participating with a different electric company. There are people in here that are probably with Black River Electric Company. I'm connected to their system. They have a solar farm. I'm connected to that solar farm. I am saving money on my electric bill from this process, from this technology. So there's no question that it's going to save people money. Now, And I'm hoping that with Duke Energy wanting to come in and raise everybody's electric bill $19, that people will say, hey, how can I pay less? Solar energy is the answer. Thank you.
Call the question, Mr. Chairman.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. We have a motion and a second on the floor to approve.
I would like to make a comment. Sorry, Mr. Chairman. I mean, there's, I think this is just to deal with the land use that we're dealing with. There's still other layers that they've got to go through before they are able to put a farm here in Sumter. They've got to go through the zoning board of appeals, and then they've got to get a fee in lieu from us, because I think that's what makes them work. So there are other layers, but right now, if we don't do something with this ordinance, it could be the wild, wild west out there. You could put a 50-acre here, you could go 100 acres here. We're trying to at least put some teeth in it and making sure that, I'm with you, Mr. Washington. I don't know, and it could turn out to be all political, and these incentives might go away, and then the farms might go out. Who knows what's going to happen in the future? But right now, we've got to figure out, because they're coming here and they're asking to come here, we've got to figure out how we're going to deal with them, especially with the land use. And, yeah. Well, I don't know how Black River is sold on it yet, but I know they're trying. But I think the big electrical company that supplies power to the co-ops is on board with it. I know that, but so I mean, we're just, to be honest with you, I feel just like you. I don't want to see these things out there, but I think they're here, and we've got to figure a way to deal with them. And, we're trying our hardest to come up with something that's got some teeth that we can control the best we can, and I think we've worked hard on this, and it's not the best, I guess, but it's as good as we've been able to come up with, I think. So anyway, I just want to make that comment.
We have a motion and a second to approve ordinance amendment number 2301. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Opposed.
Ordinance 2301 passes. Third reading. Second reading ordinance number 23991. Mr. Mason.
Mr. Chair, council members, again, Jonathan's absence, in this conversation. It's an ordinance authorizing the amendment of the fee in lieu and tax agreement between Sumter County and a project currently known as Project Mold. The ordinance will extend the investment period, provide additional special source revenue credits, and address a matter related to proposed expansion. The basic terms are this proposed $17 million investment, and it's anticipated to create 15 to 20 new jobs. We are still working through the process. You've got one more reading, and you also have a public hearing on this matter that will be scheduled, which time we'll have a fiscal tax committee meeting so we can discuss the terms in greater detail. That's what we have for you, sir, for tonight for second reading.
Move approval, second reading. Second. It's been moved and properly seconded that we have second reading on ordinance number 23991. Any discussion? Anyone, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ordinance second reading of ordinance number 23991 is passed. Ordinance number 23994, second reading.
Mr. Chair, council members, this is an ordinance amending the Sumter County Code of Ordinances, Chapter 26, Article 2, for license and permits and miscellaneous business regulations. By amending this, the business license class schedule, and that's the important term in this, the class schedule, will be conforming to the changes that are required by Act 176, 2020. Council had a committee meeting at the land use committee where we went into great deal about those codes. That's the proposed changes for tonight at second reading, sir.
Approval, second reading.
Second.
Then moved and properly seconded that we have second reading on ordinance number 23994. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
I just want to reiterate what the county administrator said, because I know there are a lot of folks out here in the audience that are concerned about the licensing regulations, and I just want to make it clear that there was a committee meeting about that prior to this meeting, and that conversation is ongoing, specifically related to the 10-year moratorium on an individual engaging in attaining a business license for certain businesses after serving time. So this ordinance is totally separate from that, and I think the chairman will be giving a report and update on that in just a minute. So I just wanted to make that clear. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, second reading of ordinance 23994 is passed. Committee reports, land use meeting, Northeast.
Chairman, land use committee this afternoon, we discussed all of the changes and that Ms. Rubin presented to us tonight for third reading on the solar development.
We did have a fiscal tax and property committee meeting. Ms. McGaney was not present, as Mr. Washington so eloquently stated. The amendment that we just passed has nothing to do with the business license that is of a concern to many of you. We had a brief but strong discussion about the county's ordinance, which is different from the city ordinance in many ways. But yet still there are some things that were brought up that were of concern to all of us, as I may say. And this is a discussion that will be continued. That is my report. Report from council members on other meetings, trainings, and or conferences.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Washington.
I had the distinct pleasure of participating in the Pinewood Christmas Parade.
Were you Santa Claus?
I was not Santa Claus.
That's from my side of his deal.
However, the original councilman from Pinewood could have been Santa Claus. He had his golf cart and his family and his kids, and he gave out gifts of candy and fruits and just all kinds of nice things. But it was a well-attended event. There were a number of participants, I think close to 40, if I'm correct, at least. And then subsequent to that, the Catch-All Community Center had its senior luncheon on Saturday. And they asked me if I would be the keynote speaker, and there were about 150 people there, seniors, and they were decked out in their Christmas attire, and they sang Christmas songs, and it was just a very heartwarming, both events, very heartwarming experience, and I just wanted to share that with council.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. Monthly reports, Ms. Brown.
Council, in your package, you will have the Public Works Department monthly report. Also in your packet, it's on December the 15th, the Sumter VA outpatient. They'll have an art show, and they would like for council members to come in to that. Also, council members in the school district, trustees will have a drop-in on Thursday, December 14th, from 4:30 to 6:30. Please, please, please try to attend. Lastly, the Internal Affairs Committee will have a meeting on Wednesday, December the 20th at 12, and a special meeting for County Council will be December the 20th at 12:15.
Thank you. Mr. Mixon, County Administrator's report.
Mr. Chair, Council, one quick item. Just wanted to inform Council that today, Mr. Mike McCoy, our litter officer of Sumter County, had an opportunity to go to WFTX, and they did a special report on the litter efforts in Sumter. So again, kudos to Mike, public works staff, and the work of council in our community, getting some great recognition, I believe, statewide for our efforts. So get an opportunity, may still be on, maybe by 7, maybe even on the 11 o'clock report, but look for Mike McCoy on WLTX.
Thank you. Come now to the public comment portion of our agenda. Citizens desiring to speak during public comment are limited to 3 minutes. Comments are to be made through the chair. If there are any questions, they'll be answered after the meeting. I now declare the public comment portion of our agenda open. Anyone wishing to speak to council, please proceed to the podium. State your name for the record.
Good evening. Name is Louis Watkins. I live in Sumter County. I'd like to thank the council for the opportunity to speak. Mr. Mixon mentioned the litter cleanup. I'm proud to be able to say that the WIN Community Resource Center, which is a nonprofit group that is representing the Sheltard Heights and Broad Street area, that's in District 6, excuse me. I'll read this slide. The WIN Community Resource Center, Civic Responsibility Community Litter Cleanup, Saturday, December the 16th, from 9 to 2 p.m. The 16th is one of the dates that the city of Sumter established for litter cleanup. They'll be giving us gloves, bags, pickets, vests, and other supplies. I have the flyer here, and also the city itself is having a junk removal cleanup citywide from January 22nd through January 26th. And so we're co-sponsoring, also we're advocating for the city cleanup. We would like to take the opportunity to help advocate for a central complaint telephone number. The city have a number, which is 803-436-2558. That's a complaint number, complaint line. And this organization will be sponsoring, or at least promoting that number so that we can get it out to the public, so that any complaints that they may have can be called into that particular number. So the city is, this is the flyer. I have some of these. This is the one the city is putting out, and this is our flyer here. And I'd like to encourage other community groups to have these litter pickups, these litter cleanups, and to take some civic responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Watkins.
I'm gonna get that number afterwards.
Okay.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Dr. Elaine Brunson. I am at 301 South Main Street. As the president and current CEO of the Sumter Black Chamber of Commerce, I am deeply concerned about the new ordinance that affects the city and county business license department. It threatens to prevent felons who have served a year or more from obtaining business licenses. This legislation is not just a barrier to re-entry, it is a form of discrimination against handicaps, veterans, and socially disadvantaged business owners. In Sumter, South Carolina, we pride ourselves on being an inclusive community that supports all of its members. However, the current ordinance undermines our values by creating unnecessary hurdles for those seeking to rebuild their lives after serving their time. According to the National Institute of Justice, approximately 76.6% of released prisoners were rearrested within 5 years due to a lack of opportunities and support from community systems. This ordinance disproportionately affects minorities who may want to start businesses or may have already done so. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reports that minority-owned businesses are growing at a faster rate than non-minority-owned businesses, which contributes significantly towards job creation and economic growth in our communities. We cannot allow discriminatory legislation to be passed and be unchallenged. It's time we stand together as one community against any form of discrimination and fight for equal opportunities for everyone, regardless of their past mistakes. We are urging local authorities and the city of Sumter and also the county of Sumter not only to halt but reconsider how damaging the ordinance is to the county residents as well as the city of Sumter residents. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Brunson. Everybody jump up at once.
George Bates, Whitefield, President, Council, members, staff, public. I've been following this solar panel program for a number of months now, and I found out tonight that the height restriction went from 25 feet down to 15 feet. I just wanted to understand that, are we talking about the point at which it swivels, which would only be about 7 feet or 7.5 feet off the ground? And if that's the case, what about in the future if they get upgraded panels or newer panels that are slightly larger or larger, they can't install them now? Just a consideration for you all. You can always